Welcome to We Don't Have Cookies with your host, Jason Marshall.
How's it going, everybody? I hope you had a great weekend. This week, I am playing for you the accidental episode that we talked about last week. A lot of crazy stuff has been going on lately, so I didn't have a chance to record a show. Hopefully, I'll have you guys updated on that next week. I don't want to talk about it now because I don't want to jinx things. Also, hopefully this week, on Thursday, Benny Mac and I will name a Dumbass of the Year for April. If that doesn't happen this week, that will be next week. And as always, send your emails to jason at wedon'thavecookies.com or call 929-266-9342, leave a voicemail. Before we get into the show, here's a segment called Totally from UK Today, aka Totally FUKT with ChooChoo Stu. And that's it for me this week. I will be back with a brand new show for you either Thursday or Monday. Until then, take care, send those emails in. I'll talk to you soon.
Female pensioner, 64, had sex with 3 dogs at a sick bestiality party, but claimed it was not a crime, spared jail. Carol Bowditch, 64, had sex with a St. Bernard, a Black Labrador, and an Alsatian. Owners watch women have sex with their dogs, then men, at bizarre parties. Daniel Galloway admitted aiding and abetting Bowditch to have intercourse with an animal. According to the Mirror, Bowditch's crimes came to light following an RAF police investigation into the horrifying sex parties which were advertised on a bestiality internet forum. Women would have sex with dogs before having sex with their male owners. When her home was searched, police found a DVD and a USB stick containing films of her with dogs. Victoria Rose prosecuting told Lincoln Crown Court when the DVD was analysed, it was found to contain extreme images. Those images portray persons committing penetrative sexual acts with dogs.
You've got to watch it sometime if you can find it. He's like, it's called something like The Godfather. Like, seriously, Jamie? Everyone has seen The Godfather.
That definitely sounds like me.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I don't know if it's an ADD thing. I would like to think I'm too busy, but let's face it. I don't have a job.
You're just not paying attention.
Yeah. I don't have a job. I don't homeschool my kids.
Yeah. Well, God, why would anyone? It's horrible. Nobody wants to spend that much time with their kids. Our neighbor across the street they have 7 kids, and they're super religious, and they're Baptists, and all they do is, like, if it's not church related, their kids aren't in it, and they homeschool. And I swear to God, that woman looks like she hates life every day when she gets out of the car. And it's funny because she will sit in her car for like a half hour by herself. She will just sit in the car.
Wow.
And then when she gets out and walks up to the door, it's like life has beaten her to hell. She's just sluggish and like, I'm like, you need to send those kids to school. Nobody should. They leave the house. They go to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. Other than that, they're home all the time. I call them feral children because you look outside, they'll be on top of the van and in the trees. You'll be like, what the fuck is going on?
My family was always really religious. They were Baptists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if other religions have this, but they did a thing. It's kind of like Spirit Week. Where it's like a full week where you go to church all week.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what revivals.
Yeah, Andy
used
to have those being Pentecostal.
Spirit Week. That's funny. But the weirdest, at that point in my life, I've met a lot of weird people since. But the weirdest person I'd ever met was this girl that I met at the revival. And it was a church that we never been to. My dad just really liked this preacher.
Yeah.
And every time he would have one of his things, he would go to it. And this girl was just so creepy. And so, like, she didn't know any songs. Like, you know, we talk about music, like Salt and Pepper and shit.
Oh, yeah.
No clue.
Oh, they have, yeah.
And no real reference as far as TV goes. And we're teenagers, you know, 14, 15. I think that's why she felt creepy, because she just seemed like somebody from Little House on the Prairie, you know? Yeah. Because she had like the prairie dresses that her mom made for her and shit. And it was just, it disturbed me. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, well, they're boys. One of them told my daughter the other day that her leggings were inappropriate. And my youngest, too, still like to play with them, although my 10-year-old's gotten away from him. The 8-year-old still, because he plays with anybody. Like, anybody who wants to play, he's up to play.
Yeah.
And he goes over there, but then he comes home and he'll say things like, Mom, are you and Dad going to get divorced? But like, no. He's like, good, because the bachelors say that anyone who gets divorced is going to hell. You know, like, stuff like that. Finally, I had to be like, look, just because they say it doesn't mean it's the truth. That's their belief system. That is not my belief system or the belief system of this family. And if you're going to keep coming home and saying shit like that, then you're not going to go over there and play anymore. Like, if you can't
detach yourself from their...
determine what's bullshit and what is true, then
we went to church one day. I guess it doesn't matter what the guy's name is. I don't need to just call preachers out. But we always went twice on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And somehow between the morning service and the night service, they found out that the guest preacher, who'd done it a couple of times, that's why they kept bringing him back. His last name's Markham. They found out that he'd had a divorce. And because he'd had a divorce, he couldn't preach in their...
Wow.
You know, their religion was like, well, if you've been divorced, you're not allowed to be a preacher. So it was like sacrilegious that he was ever there, and they like ushered him out. Wow. And it was so weird.
Yeah.
And then there was like a split because people were like, well, he's a good preacher, and then other people were like, yeah, but you know, he's divorced. And you know, some followed him, and the place that used to be a bowling alley next to the diesel bar.
Yeah.
He ended up holding services there on Sunday mornings.
Oh, yeah?
Because I remember being there and thinking, this is
weird. Yeah.
The crazy part is, I think they're the ones that started it, but I'm not quite sure. The woman who had him removed, her husband was a church trustee because women shouldn't do anything.
Well, of course, yeah.
They ended up doing something where... they removed the actual pastor and took the church over and just turned it into a house. That's where his son lives now.
Wow. I didn't know that was possible.
If this was part of the episode, I'd put in some kind of old-time religion song.
Yeah.
Right about
See,
now.
I grew up Catholic. It was so weird because...
It's whole different worlds, isn't it? Because I know you guys got your shit. But it's weird looking at it.
But you know what's weird, though, is that I never felt like anybody was judging anybody. You know, Andy talks about growing up Pentecostal and how preachers would stand in the pulpit and point people out. You know, why are you wearing pants? Why are you wearing makeup? Talk about other religions and how they're going to hell because that's not the right way. I never heard any of that.
Yeah.
Being Catholic.
When our church split up, my mom was just... kind of going around trying to find something. Mm-hmm. And we went to a Pentecostal church once, and they started preaching in tongues or talking in tongues or whatever they do. And the other thing that really surprised me, which how you can be surprised after people start is shocking unto itself. But these people were just like smacking tambourines and shit. Like, who's bringing tambourines to a church?
I went to one service, with Andy, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Every single preteen teenage girl in this church has a tambourine. There's like 25 of them. I'm just, that blew me away. The one time that we went, this guy pulled Andy aside, and Andy's like long hair, wearing a tie-dye. He didn't want to go to this church picnic thing. But it was, you know, for his mom, for his grandma, we were going to go. I'm 17 years old. I've been in Catholic school my whole life. Like, I'm as sheltered as a person gets. Like, I had never seen pot until I started dating Andy. I didn't know what it looked like. Like, I didn't even know what people did with it. Like, it was just like this dangerous drug I'd heard about, you know? But I accidentally said shit. And one of the guys pulled Andy aside and said, "You got to give her the boot. She's leading you straight to hell, man."
Was that the end of your relationship?
Yeah, we broke up and never saw each other again.
That sucks so bad because you're such a
years
good
and
couple.
6 kids later, yeah. Andy's like, I really should have listened to that dude.
Did you hear that theory about the parallel universe where, and people swear up and down this is real, it all stems from the Bernstein Bears. Do you know them?
Yes.
Or there are people that swear it was the Barnstein Bears or the Berenstain Bears or something, but there's something where they swear that it used to be called this and it was spelled with an A, but now it's spelled with an E. And some kind of universe thing happened where it split and now they're trapped in a different universe that they weren't in before, and things are just slightly spelled different.
I mean, I've heard of parallel universes, but never based on the Berenstein versus Berenstain Bears. I never realized that was people's, like, woo-doo-doo-doo.
I gotta find out what that theory's called. I've been hearing people talk a lot about it lately, and it just blows me away.
It's interesting the things you hear about. No, like what's going on in the world, but the Berenstein Bear parallel universe theory, Jason's all the way up on.
It even has a real name. It's a real theory. I'll have to research that and see what all the other things are that are spelled different.
Get back to me on that.
Maybe there are cat kits out there. And
maybe you get your own TV show where you're like trying to prove the existence of a parallel universe.
All I can show is just fuzzy pictures of
which
what
is
I
what
think
some people think ghosts are, like parallel universes that like overlap.
This needs to be an episode. Maybe we'll just make this a bonus someday. I was upstairs painting a door. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I brought it down here to show it to you too.
Is it gonna be
fall off the fucking table?
Is it gonna be the paranormal episode?
It didn't even fall off the table. I'm looking on the floor for it. It's right fucking in front of me. I can't see it. How's that? Anyway, I'm upstairs. I'm painting a door. Mm-hmm. We've already talked about the music box that was playing.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the drop of water on my foot?
No, not that.
Right at the bottom of the stairs. I was standing there. I've been inside for a while. Feet are dry. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it tracked something in.
No.
Standing there, this huge drop of water hits my foot. And I'm wearing boots and it just splatters. And I thought, fuck, I got a leak in the house.
Yeah.
And this can't be good because I'm on the first floor.
Yeah.
I look up. I'm trying to figure out where the leak is. There's no water anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I took a picture of it. It's on my phone somewhere, but it blew me away.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no explanation for it. It's not like I was wearing a hat and I was sweating my ass off. Or, somebody poured a bunch of Gatorade on my head.
It's like a victory. Like, ooh, we finished the drywall. Ah!
The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, like anybody in Ohio cares about that.
So that happened. 3 days ago, I'm painting a door upstairs. This feather falls right in front of me. Mm. I'm standing in front of a doorway. There's not much room for it to fall in front of me in the first place.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I always try to give the benefit of the doubt that I'm just crazy. And I just got a rough life ahead of me. I need to accept it. But I get here today. I'm going to go see if there's a feather up there because I'm painting and I'm not wearing a mask and I didn't open a window.
Yeah.
So maybe it was paint fumes. I go upstairs and I'll be damned that it was right there.
Yeah.
It blew me away. How do you explain that?
I had so much weird shit happen at our old house that it convinced me. Before that, like, I'd never really considered ghosts. Like, I had never even really thought about it. But then when we lived in that house before the house we lived in now, I saw a little girl peek her head down the steps to the point where I went upstairs to make sure all my kids were in bed. And Andy came out at the same time, and I was like, what are you doing awake? And he's like, I just saw somebody walk past the door. we were sitting in the living room, and I watched, because it was like 2 rooms that connect by a big open doorway. In the other room, there was the piano. And all of a sudden, this black shadow just went whoosh across the top of the piano. And piano music fell off the piano and started floating down to the floor.
Wow.
Andy got up because he was convinced there was an animal there. But he was sitting facing the other way, and I was facing directly the piano. I'm like, there's nothing there. I can tell you. I saw the shadow. It was just a black shadow. It reminded me of a cat. But there was nothing there. There was no, like, he's like digging around expecting to find an animal behind the piano or in the corner of the room or something. One day our toaster is standing in the kitchen and I'm facing out and he's facing the other way. So we're standing face to face. And I watch as the toaster just goes wham and falls so hard from the baker's rack. I mean, doesn't just like tumble over and like hit the bottom of the rack and like fall on the floor. Actually hits the cabinets across the kitchen and falls on the floor. I was never so glad as when we moved. I was like, we have got to get out of here. Because my son was just freaking out. My oldest son, he was using the bathroom one day. He went to open the door and the handle came off. So he started panicking because he didn't know what to do. Because for some reason in that house, doorknobs would fall off all the time. Mm-hmm. We'd put them back on, put in another screw. Couple days later, the fucking doorknob would come off again. You're like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, we hear him upstairs just freaking the fuck out, just banging and kicking on the doors. And we go upstairs, and he was shaking and crying. I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, the handle fell off and I couldn't get out. And this little girl came in here and held out her hand to me. He went to school, drew pictures of this, like wrote an essay about it. He was 7, 8 years old at the time. And he would not go upstairs by himself for a year. If I didn't at least sit on the steps while he went to the bathroom, he would not go up there, period.
Did you hear about the story where there was some teacher at a high school? She went to a bathroom stall, couldn't get out of the stall because somebody used the baby changing table that was by the stall and left it down.
Yeah. Why
So
would you
she
crawl
couldn't
out the
open
bottom,
the
though,
door.
or something?
I'm assuming either I didn't see a picture of her and they didn't give a description. I'm assuming either she was too old to kneel down that way or she was just too big to...
Yeah, and again, I don't know.
Because she was calling family members and shit.
Like, please come get me out of the bathroom.
And she made it a video call because there's video of her out there talking to her family, which whoever you call is a shitty family member to release the video.
Yeah,
They're like, check out my mom.
Did they come get her at least? Can I have that bottle?
Yeah. Thankfully, somebody was there and got her out. But how many people are... That's a good point.
I mean, if you want to get up and walk over, I clearly am much lazier than you are.
I don't know how many people bring their kids to school, whether you're a teacher or the nurse or the principal or the student. There wasn't a lot of babies when I was in high school, you know? I can see having a changing table there. I get that. I know the purpose, but I don't know how this happened during school hours. It just seems a little odd.
Yeah, I'd say that's more along the intentional lines more than the accidental lines. Yeah, I mean, somebody clearly
that
saw
bitch,
her.
Mrs. Smith, is in the bathroom. This is my chance.
Let's get her.
It's innocent enough. I'll wash my hands. I'll kind of knock that a little bit. It'll fall down.
Oops, I didn't even know that happened.
Well, that concludes our accidental episode.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review.
How you can be surprised after people start...